This is English 401. Today we're going to talk about the writing process. There are 5 different steps to the writing process, and all kinds of writers use them. Even famous writers who write books to sell, and really anybody who writes anything that has logic to it, that has understanding to it, they would use the writing process. The first step to the writing process is to gather and read. Okay. You need to think of a topic that you want to do. You might not even know what topic you want to write about at this time, but you start to think about it. But before you get to plan 2, you think and plan. You think about who are you writing this paper for? Are you writing it for your classmates? Are you writing it for a teacher? It might even be a letter that you write to your cousin who lives far away. You just have to decide what you're going to write about and who your audience is. You also, your teacher might give you an assignment and tell you who your audience is going to be. The third step in the writing process is write and rewrite. Some people call this the rough draft. And the first one you do is the rough draft. You sit down and you just start writing about your topic. You don't worry about punctuation, you don't worry about capitalization, you don't worry about spelling. But what you should do is, on your notebook paper, skip a line in between each sentence or each line. Do every other line. So when you proofread it, or your neighbor beside you in your class proofreads it, they'll have room to write in suggestions. Then you check and polish your work is number 4. Check and polish. So you might have a couple of rough drafts. The very first one is going to be pretty rough, and then you'll have a second rough draft, and then you'll check it, and you'll maybe have your mom look at it, your dad, your teacher, and really check for all mistakes. Do you look for mistakes? And then you think, okay, well, maybe I could have said this in a better way, or like a phrase in a better way, or ended it in a better way. Or maybe you think, I forgot to say a topic point you left out. So it's good to check and polish. And these 2 steps you can do 2 or 3 times. But when you have your final paper that you really like, your final rough draft, you share your results. But let's see, share results. But before you do that, you get a draft that is corrected the right way. Several people have read it, you have read it, and you get out a blank piece of paper, and you do not have to skip lines at this point. You just want to do your very best handwriting, if you have to erase, like a little tiny erase mark, that's okay. You don't have to redo it. But if you have a big old smudge mark on your paper, you don't want to turn in a paper like that. You want to turn in a paper that you're proud of. So we're going to talk about these writing processes, all 5 of them. So the first one is gather and read. Let's say you've gathered your information and you've read about your topic if you need to, and you think about what you want to write about. So let's say I want to write about my cat, but there's different ways that you can plan. You can make a web on your board, and I'll show you how to do that in a minute. You can make a list. Before you even do that, you can just think and read. Think or read about your topic, or just think and kind of think, I want to say this and this and this, and then write it on your paper, you know, in list form. So there's not a wrong way to do it. But some people do lists, you know, and I have decided I want to write about my cat, Luna. So Luna is my cat. And what I would do is I would just do a web about Luna. And you can't do this wrong. It's just ideas. You won't include every idea in your paper, but you might include, and you will include some. So Luna likes to sleep. She likes to sleep a lot. So I'll put sleep right here. She likes to look out the window. She purrs a lot. Let's see. She eats cat food. So those are some things about my cat. And then you can put more details about each little circle. Okay, well, when does she like to sleep? She likes to sleep all day sometimes. She likes to sleep in her little cat bed. She looks out the window and she likes to see birds, trees. She likes to watch the wind go through the trees. Over here, she purrs when she's happy. Another thing, she purrs when we pet her. She purrs when we talk to her. Over here, cat food. She eats, I feed her one time a day. Let's see, one time a day I feed her. She's really happy when she eats. She gets upset when there's no food in her bowl. So there, I have enough information to write something about my cat, Luna. The main topic would be Luna, my cat. And the opening paragraph, and at this point you would start planning in your head. You wouldn't actually write everything down, but I would know my opening paragraph would be about my cat Luna and what she likes to do, and the other paragraphs in my paper would be supporting why Luna likes to sleep, why she likes to look out the window, why she likes the cat food, and why she likes to purr. Well, so that is that, and we will talk, and you'll keep that on a separate sheet of paper, and then you will, like I said, you'll start to think and plan. After you read your information, you'll think, what do I want to leave in my paper? What do I want to leave out of my paper? If I wasn't going to write a paper about my cat, and maybe I was going to write about George Washington, I would want to know key facts about George Washington's life. Where he was born, how he grew up as a child, what his mother and father did, if he was an only child or had brothers and sisters, where he went to school, who he married, how he became president, and how long he was president, and how he would die. Would all be things you would want to include in your paper. So it's good to plan. It's good to plan. So now, once you have all your little jots, you know, your web and your list and stuff, you've read and gathered, you think and plan, And now it's time to write and rewrite. So that is step 3. So it's also can be called a rough draft. When you sit down to write your rough draft, it does not have to be perfect. You need to skip every other line in case someone, you have a mistake that you want to correct, or someone has a mistake they see and want to correct for you. You can easily read it because you've skipped lines. So you sit down with your paper and you just write. You don't worry about capitalization. You don't worry about grammar. At this point, you just write what you know about your topic. You can write, it's okay to include things you're not sure if you want to include. Later, if you forget to include something, you can go back and include it. So the rough draft will be rough. It will not be perfect. And after you get that done, you can have your mom check it, your teacher check it, and just proofread it. Proofread for mistakes. If there's a misspelled word, they might circle it and put SP in front of it. If you've left out a word, they might do a little mark like this and put, say you left out the word the or the. It's all to help you. And then after you do that, you may rewrite it. And at this point, it's still a rough draft, so you're going to double space again. So it will not be your final work. It'll be your second rough draft, and you will write it out and make the corrections that other people have suggested, and you have found mistakes in your paper, so you'll correct them. And then you'll do, you'll let people read it again. You'll read it, your mom will read it, your teacher will read it, whoever. You just want people to read it because sometimes, you know, even I don't catch my own mistakes. So after you've finished reading it, finished writing it a second time, and you're happy with it, and other people do not find any mistakes, and you may get out a clean piece of paper and you may write your final draft, the one that you're going to turn in, the one that you are proud of. And you're not going to double space. You're going to write neatly. Like if I were going to write a paper about with the web I did about my cat, and I would have done a rough draft and a rough draft, and I would have had a final draft. My final draft would be very nice and neat. I would try to make it, you know, as perfect as I can. Punctuation, capitalization, penmanship, and I would want it to be something proud I would hand to my teacher. So good luck on your writing. I know you'll do a good job. You just have to not rush through all the processes, the writing process.